Testing audio. Test. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Glad to hear it, man. Good morning, folks. Let's back that music bed down a little bit. All right, it seems as though we have a functioning microphone today, so you get to actually listen to my silliness. So, yeah, back for another morning sketch, and it's the morning warm-up time for my folks, my friends around the globe to whom it is not morning. Any time of day is a good time for warm-up. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the sketch time, and thanks for joining me. So I'm gonna pop over to the chat real quick. Roman is with us today. Super cool dude. Been a supporter of mine for a long time. Glad to see you in here, man. So as the topic in my posts and shares on this says today, I'm gonna focus on pulling my damn hat down. Focusing on the idea of sexy monsters. So I work out of ZBrush primarily for my 3D stuff, as you all know. And let's just jump on over into that. Okay. So something nice about ZBrush, especially for concepting, it has a number of, I call them bucks, kind of an old school term in sculpting and toy design and stuff. It has a number of bucks included for getting started. And if you don't have your coffee yet, you should have some. I know I am. And these bucks, these starters, are really, really handy. So that I'm not killing a bunch of time today, just building up a base to work from, I'm going to start from their female shape that is included here. Okay. And when you load that in, it'll say model courtesy of Svetomir Georgiev. So go check him out. What is it? Not quite sure. Kiko Aliens store. Anyway, he's on ArtStation. Check out Svetomir. I am going to grab this female figure of his that is included and use it as a basis for a quick bust. Although, do I want to do a bust or do I want to play with the arms? Tell you what, let's just jump in and start spitballing something. But I really do like working with something like this. I have a number of my own, but I'm using the stuff that's included with ZBrush so that folks watching it, you know, like if you're new to ZBrush, you'll be like, oh, I have that. So you could actually grab that and follow along a little bit if you wanted, or, you know, it's just so you kind of know that it's there. I need to turn off my notifications in places so that I have don't have noises coming through like that. So, okay. So let's jump back in here now and start looking at what we have. Does this have subdivision on? Yes, it does. So I'm gonna get rid of all of that. And I am feeling like just riffing on something monstrous, but first I'm going to go in and play with some proportions a little bit. Let's add a little lankiness to her. There's something about trying to design a character that has a sexiness to it that I think in order to make sexiness creepy, one of my favorite routes to take is to kind of overblow certain things. You know, if you do a little research on it, you'll find there's like different psychological studies that talk about the things that men and women find sexy and their proportions and all that kind of stuff. And if we take some of those things and take them just a little past what is considered attractive, then it gets into this realm where you see it registers with that little bit of sex appeal right off, but then it's gone overboard a little bit. And that can get kind of unsettling. And I dig that. I dig that a lot. I like seeing things that push those buttons. And it's not difficult to do that. So I want to go in and play with, like if we want to be a little more extreme with it, I'll push the waist size. You squeeze that waist size in on a female figure, and it's sort of, you know, it's going to that trope. You know, it is kind of a trope about the way that, you know, we kind of, you know, there's some kind of unrealistic crap that gets tossed around about, you know, attractiveness and beauty for women. And I feel like if you take some of that, like, oh, they're supposed to be super thin is attractive, push it. Make them a little too thin. Oh, you know, it's like they're super thin but with giant boobs and hips. Okay, make the hips a little too big. Make the waist a little too thin. Make the breasts a little too big, or, you know, do something strange with it. And you can, as an artist, it's an interesting vehicle of almost commentary, you know. And I don't want to get too deep into that sort of thing. For the sake of a stream, but as an artist, I do like playing around with those kinds of things that to me are subtle commentaries on things that you may, like or dislike or agree with or disagree with, so on. So uh, it's a good place to do that. You can do some kind of, if you make things too overt and too challenging, people don't want to see them. They just won't look. Too jarring and they won't look. Not jarring enough and they miss the point. So you have to find that sweet spot. So to that end, I'm going to go in and play with some of these proportions just a little bit. Maybe enhancing some curves in her figure. And I don't mind if it almost gets a little cartoony. That doesn't bother me one bit. So let's go ahead and turn on the old sculptress mode. And I'm just going to smooth brush over most of this a little bit just to get that sculptress surfacing started. And I do want to get rid of quite a bit of the face, or at least just kind of smooth it out. Okay, now let's come in here and just play around a little bit with our overall figure. Something else that I kind of borrow from some of my favorite manga and old anime. I'm a big fan of Go Nagai with his Devil Man and Devil Woman work, and had the honor of working some years ago before he passed away with Yasuhiro Norasaki. And Nira had done a lot of character designs for Go Nagai. I don't remember now if it was directly for Go Nagai or if it was just as a contractor on the series, but he did a lot of character designs for the Devilman franchises. And his designs, I really learned a lot from being a TD. I was a technical director working with Nira through a mutual friend of ours, Tony Luke, who, if you watch my stuff very much, you will hear Tony's name dropped a lot because Tony and I were great friends for like 13 years until he unfortunately passed away from complications from cancer. But working on things coming from Nira, I picked up a lot more, like, firsthand, what I consider kind of a Japanese aesthetic for horror. And Nira really liked playing with the forms on characters and embedding elements into monster designs that were sort of commentaries on subject matter in and of themselves and in really cool ways. So I kind of carry some of that influence with me. And the female form is a great place to do that. Because God knows there's enough things about the female form that get, shoved down our throats on a regular basis. For men and women alike, it's like when you live in a very hypersexualized society, it's like that's kind of the the thing that happens. So I like to you know, kind of remember a lot of cues and things that I learned from Nira. Also look to a number of comic book artists who I really love, who I feel like have a healthy way of playing with those things. Some of those guys get a little controversial, but I dig that. Probably my favorite comic artist when it comes to female form is Adam Hughes. Now, he doesn't do female monsters very much. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen him do a female monster, but he does play with the female form in just such a beautiful way that I try to keep him in mind whenever I'm dealing with feminine forms and female characters. Let's see. I look to a lot of movies. There's a lot of classic movies, classic monster movies. Probably the biggest one that I think I was turned on to by Anne Rice a long time ago was it Bride of Frankenstein or Frankenstein's Daughter? It might have been Frankenstein's Daughter. I don't, crap, I'm drawing a blank on it now. Anyway, some of those older black and white horror movies that had like kind of an alluring female lead would play with some things in an interesting way. So I try to keep that stuff in mind. Alright, so I feel like I have enough there, enough proportional changes and things from that buck to really start exploring a little bit. So I find, you know, like even this buck has very soft, elongated sort of fingers to it, and I want to work from that a bit. Although I actually feel like those are a little too soft and elongated. So I'm gonna mask off the hand. Actually, let's do here. There we go. Mask off each of these fingers. And we'll start contracting that mask a little bit. The key commands I'm using for that, by the way, if I hold Control and just tap out in space, that will invert any mask. If I hold Control and paint on the surface, it creates a mask. If I hold Control and Alt, it will remove masking. And then if I hold Control and click in a masked area, it will blur the mask. If I hold Control and Alt and click in a masked area, it will sharpen the mask. So now I'm going to use this transpose tool and hold Control and click and drag on that center square there to inflate that mesh. And then we're just going to brush back over this a little bit to smooth some of that out. Even let's try a little polish on that. I'm actually tempted to lop the fingers completely off and get really gory with this, really funky. Yeah, I'm feeling like getting kind of extreme with it, so we'll see. Yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of most of that mouth cavity. Alright, now let's start spitballing some shape with this. Some ways to pull this around and start getting kind of disturbing with it. Elongating a face is always good. Also, I think I'm in the mood to kind of go bulbous and almost alien-ish with the head. But not full-on Giger alien. Like, I don't want to go all the way out with it. I want to keep it in here in the realm of, like, plausibility. I also feel like I want to almost ditch the ears. I don't know. Let's start playing around with some things here. I'm going to play around with some oddball shapes into the surface there on those ears. Let's see. You know, let's do something really kind of funky here. I'm almost in a mood to go some kind of weird vampire monster thing with stuff. I know I've actually done that in a different sculpt recently, some kind of vampire sort of thing. That's funny too, as I draw these lines in here, I'm immediately reminded of Bride of Frankenstein. I've always thought the Bride of Frankenstein was one of the sexiest damn characters ever made. Let's come in here with something. Big eyes tend to have, yes, it's the subject I'm going for here is something that kind of relates to some sex appeal. You know, creates something that's a little maybe off kilter, but still has an element of that to it. Let's come back in here and look. I might just pull a whole other head in and work on that for a bit. I just want to get some general shape in here. Smooth some of that out. Yeah. Do some big ol' eyes on here. And then we're gonna split those off. Right. Here we go. I like the idea of a female figure that maybe once was attractive, and you know, whatever's happened to her as a creature has made her brought out, I guess, some kind of an ugliness. I'm really feeling like playing with these forms. I want to get away from a human face altogether the more I look at it. I'm really feeling like going far more disgusting with this. And it is morning sketch time anyway, so I may end up changing the title on this before it's all over, but what ifs? It's all good. Here we go. Let's loosen up and do some spitballing here. I want to add some shape to this. Haven't dynameshed this yet, so let's do that. Oop. Hopefully that has enough tolerance for the fingers. Cool. Let's give a little more sweep to these. I want to really get a swept back look on these ears. And then let's drop the top of the head in just a little bit. Start creating almost a cat-like sort of feel, but not. Starting to think now almost like for anyone who knows like the Lovecraftian stuff, almost like a female take on a night gaunt. But I know it's not going to end up being that because there's like things that I can tell I have in mind that are going to deviate from that, so... Play with a couple different mouth shapes. Kind of see where we lead with that. No. I was just looking at an image of the creature from Cloverfield, so it's kind of a thing there for a second. Let's see. Still trying to decide just how much I want to destroy the figure's proportions. Let's bring that in. I really want some more flowing sort of lines. Let's bring that mouth in, make that a little smaller. Ooh, yeah, I like that. I like the way that's filling out back there. Like the ears, the thought of this character being something that maybe listens, you know, very predatory, uses its hearing, very radar kind of focused. Interesting sort of S lines going here and there. There's certain kinds of strokes that I find end up playing well. It's weird, but like wavy strokes can help add interest on a surface. These S shapes, really good for that. Starting to build itself out into something here. So let's play around with some shapes on the chest. Let's take that female form and start blowing it up a little bit. I want to try to keep that midsection relatively soft. We'll add some maybe some subtleties in, some lines here and there that sort of play to the anatomy. Okay. I like that. Yeah, I'm digging that. I'm digging that a lot. On female designs, I tend to use my dam standard quite a bit more if I have a starting buck that I'm working from, because I'm not building up, I'm probably, anyway, not going to be building up as many volumes as I am cutting in. I tend to work more subtractively on female forms. Give her some little hippie handles there. And let's carve into some of this. Female forms, I'll tend to treat the musculature as, longer proportionally. I mean, the female form's going to be kind of generally smaller than the male, but I want the muscles to have kind of longer strokes and a leaner approach a lot of times. More delicate. Even when I'm going for something strong. Let's add her little tummy there. I like the tummy. And a little something to enhance that pelvic girdle. Dootsy Cutie Patootie in the chat. That is a cool name. I want to answer their question real quick, asking if it's a model for a game. Let's see. I'm saying I can give that a strong maybe. A lot of my work, I do work that I sell in a variety of places, mostly Daz 3D. So a lot of hobbyists use my stuff, but I do contract work sometimes for games, and have worked on some film work and things like that. And but a lot of my off-the-shelf stuff actually ends up getting into a variety of indie projects, and half the time I couldn't tell you where my stuff ends up getting used. I just make what I make, and then folks buy it and use it however they will. This could go to a game. Most likely, it's going to end up turning into a character that I use in some kind of a project of my own. It may end up being a concept that I turn into something in a comic book, because that's kind of a big focus of mine these days. Comics are my first love. But, yeah, so it could. It definitely, process-wise, what I'm doing is very much in line with what a lot of guys I know in gaming do. There's a real convergence across the different art forms that's happened in the last few years, and that's been kind of neat. So, I hope that sort of answers your question. I want to go back and play with this face a little bit more now that I feel like I've got a body design that I can feel good about. I'm definitely going to go back and revisit the hands and feet. In making a creature that I wanted to have kind of a sexiness to it, I felt like a strong female form through the center, but with some little accents that push it into the realm of the monstrous is a good way to go. And a lot of that is going to be informed, or a lot of where I go with that in the end is going to be informed by what I end up doing with the face. So I'm going to go back and touch on the face a little bit. I might pull some of the proportions back in now that I've got a body design coming together that I'm feeling a little better about. And one of the things that I do get a little irritated with in ZBrush is, like, it tends to rotate really well on the axis, on different axes for moving a model around, but the tools feel so much like they do for normal drawing And I tend to draw with my paper held at an angle, so it's kind of weird to get things at exactly the angle that I want to work from. I'm not sure just how humanoid I want to go with the mouth or not. I'm also thinking about doing something that I'm not always fond of, but I feel like I need to with this concept, is kind of modeling it with the mouth open. I think that might be worth playing with here. I feel like working into some anatomical forms will be a good way to inform where I want to go with this monster-wise in terms of design. Send out a couple of invites. Kind of stepping away from the screen for a second there. Feel myself heading into that space, and when I'm working on stuff where I start to get kind of quiet. Let's see. Trying to decide how much humanity I want to put back into this overall shape. It's actually a hard decision sometimes. Oh, I just bumped my camera. We still good here? We still good? There we go. Coming over. Coming over. Oh, my hat's so off kilter here. Alright. There we go. That's better. Oh. Took a little stretch. Get a little coffee. Cheers. Alright. See some masking inside here. Let's see here. Trying to decide just how far I want to take these details in the mouth. This is still just kind of supposed to be a concept piece. Very easy for me to get bogged down in, in detail land when I really need to be thinking more broader strokes. I'm also still not entirely sold on the more human mouth. But then just striating it right up into the overall shape is kind of pat too, and I want something a little different. That's one of the hardest parts actually with doing this stuff is trying to find new things, without repeating yourself constantly. And that might present an interesting opportunity. Ooh, I'm digging that. I'm digging that. That's pretty neat. Oh yeah. Oh, my eyes itching. Excuse me. Let's go up into the nostrils here. I am digging this. I am digging it. It's kind of playing to the bat creature theme I had going the other morning, but I don't know. I think for those who don't know, I do have a history with like vampire comics and stuff like that, and vampires as a genre are something I love. So I do think I have a tendency to kind of drift in that direction without meaning to sometimes. Now, I'm not entirely sure that's a bad thing. Sometimes I feel like I overdo it with that. Just like sometimes I feel like I overdo it with Lovecraftian stuff. But then again, you know, it's like, well, am I really overdoing it if it's what I love doing? Let's take a step back and let that sit for a second while I take a look at it. Sometimes I need to kind of just think a minute, take something in. Let's go in. First off, add more volume back to that. And play around with a bit of a split. Now, something I do like to do is occasionally come out of the sculptress mode. I'll hit store morph target, and then I'll maybe rough in a quick shape idea and just kind of see where it goes, and then compare it. So I do like that. I mean, it's very bat-like again, but it does add a certain creepy factor. I don't want to get too crunchy with my stuff here because I want it to still have a smoothness to it. Like I almost think if the mouth is closed and I smooth some of this stuff out, it could regain a little bit of a potential to have a beauty aspect to it. Like that mouth could close and the eyes could get a much more you know, humanoid sort of look to them. That would be really pretty cool. Let's work on that cavity right there around the eyes a bit. That should bring back a little humanity to it. Pop over and take a quick look in the chat, see if anybody's got anything they're saying there. Get our Boshin one. I'm probably not saying that right, but thanks for popping into the chat. Let's see. Where do we want to go here? There's a lot of choices to be made, you know. Just choosing what to get rid of, what to keep, where to go with shapes and all that. I feel like doing art, doing concepts and things, it's very strange. Like there's the initial stage when maybe you have a buck, like I started from here, where you have a form that you're going to work from. Like if you're working on working in effects, you're working on a film or something, you may have a cast or a scan of a person that you can then bring in, and you're going to start working from there. So when you're working from an existing form, you know, whether it's a real person or a buck provided from a client or on a project or something, you know, there's that, or you know, you're starting from nothing and building up your own form. So you know, there's always an initial phase of getting a base form down, whether it's given to you or you have it laying around somewhere or you work it up from scratch, then it seems to me that, at least for my own process, I very commonly end up playing, like if you think of it like clay, I like slapping different shapes on different amounts of clay onto different places, and this is driving me nuts. I can feel how off kilter I am, and it literally makes me feel off balance. I hate that. So there's like you'll slap different piles of clay on and let forms build up, and then once you have this sort of abstraction on top of your initial form, you can start to subtract. So you add some form, you add some material, and you start subtracting away. And sometimes, like, you'll make a cut, and that cut will, in your imagination, form a line, and you'll take that line and draw the line and follow that, and that'll turn into something. And so it becomes a very explorative process, which is a lot of the fun, I find. You know, that's really something, a part of it that I enjoy quite a bit. Let's come in. Start building these eyelids back up a little bit. And I'm going kind of intentionally thick with these because I know in the end I'm going to end up doing quite a bit of smoothing and pulling form away from them. Smoothing and subtracting and all that stuff. Really kind of want to keep this from getting super gnarly with like tons of little you know, crazy things in there, you know, lots of little wrinkles and lines. It's very easy to do that in ZBrush, and I have a tendency to want to do that, and I'm trying to discipline myself away from it a bit because it does create kind of a repetition. You know, there's a bit of a look that comes from it. Yeah, I don't like how that's coming out. Let's back that up. I'm still torn about possibly doing a split. Like right there and right there. I do kind of like that. Something I am not digging, though, I really feel like those eyes need to be lower. So I'm going to mask that off. Those are unmasked, so I'm going to mask off everything except that. And then place a transpose here, and then hit this guy right here, and it's going to act on multiple subtools. I can bring those down just a little bit right there. I'm also going to store a morph target on the eyeballs so that I can come back to them easier. So then I can work on that proportional change across these subtools. Yeah, that really, really improved that. Feel good about that. Let's just smooth some of that back out. And then, since the topic was, creating kind of sexier monsters, I have a tendency, again, it's another trope of mine that I like, I'll make things have these kind of ominously gaunt cheeks. And I want to give this a little more fullness. It needs, fuller cheeks, feel more youthful. And that is definitely an aspect of, almost a universal aspect of what's considered pretty, considered beautiful or sexy. And yeah, just adding that back in, I feel brought that much, much more into the realm of that sexiness that I want to go for. Like, I want it to be kind of challengingly sexy. It's a monster. It has monstrous features, monstrous elements, and yet it should have these proportions and attributes that are a little bit alluring. I feel like a place that I can get very creative in here is going to be the ears. Let's start hollowing these out a little bit. As this has come together, I've kind of conceptualized it in this way where, I just picture this as a creature who hunts with sound, very radar based, like a bat, listens. So let's go in here and do more of this hollowing out. Give some more volume to the back of the ears. Dig that shape. Also like having that flow down into the cheekbones, and into the brow a certain way right here. Gotta make sure that I don't ditch that work that I just did on the cheeks though, because I really like the way that came out. really good about that. At some point soon, I'm going to start working a little bit more on the mouth design. Mostly, I think, in the form of adding in the teeth. Really like this idea that just hit right here. Flowing that ear cartilage all the way down like that. Let's make these a little sharper. Pull that on into there. Ooh, there we go. See, that's a sleek line, and that plays into that sexiness, and yet takes it away from its humanity, and I dig that. Really dig that. Let me give a hint of some lines in there. I'm liking the subtleties on this. I think that's fun. I'll do that back out. Kind of know where I'm going with this. Cool. There we go. I like that a lot. smooth that back just a little bit there. Do need to smooth all of that, but I like that, the hint of that sort of ridging in there. I think that's pretty cool. Feel really good about this head design. It's kind of a cool thing. Probably gonna have to stop soon because I think my time's just about up that I can allocate to this before I have to get on with the rest of my day. Going in here right now and kind of hammering in some little details, little striations and things that I think will help kind of sell a monstrous aspect of the character. Add a few wrinkles here and there. Something about it I'm not happy with still, and that really bugs me. I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. I think I have a huge proportional tweak to make right about here. Oh, that helped a lot. That helped quite a bit. Yeah. That's the way to go right here. Let's fill some of that in. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something that's needed. Get a little bit of weight over those eyes. helped quite a bit. Okay. Digging that. Oh yeah, that's a good way to go with that. There we go. Oh, I'm digging that. It's funny, sometimes you just something clicks and then things really come together. Yeah, I dig that. Yeah. That's the way to go. I don't want to get too gnarly with it. But some little details like that, a few little wrinkles here and there, okay. Reclaim that brow line just a little bit. Oh yeah, I feel much better about that now. Much better. Yeah, I'm digging that. Digging that. All right. So now let's come in here, grab some mesh. Expand it out. Now we'll contract it back. That way we don't have any holes in it. And then I'm going to use a slice curve right here. And that should allow me to have a nicely trimmed off mouth pocket. Okay, and then let's split that mouth pocket in two. And I'm going to go to the top view here and put a split here. We're going to end up mirroring this mesh, so not a big deal. Okay. Now let's grab the top, do the same. Mirror and weld. There's a reason I have that up there in my UI like that. Because I use it a lot. Alright. Now then. So I'm just doing a couple quick extrusions there. Polish that back, group it. And I'm going to do the same here. A couple quick extrusions. Alright. Now let's take that whole mouth area. Okay. I have a little pad that I keep for my elbow so I don't... I actually found myself at one point, I had worn the skin off of my elbow from like where I post it to work on my Cintiq. I keep my Cintiq at a really high angle. And it's comfortable on my back, but it makes me sort of lean onto my elbow on my desk. So I keep a little pad there so I don't wear the damn skin off my elbow. Okay, now let's do some shaping inside here. Oop. And I want Sculptress mode to be off right now because I don't want this to separate from the rest of that mesh. And Sculptress will do that with stuff hidden. It's something I wish they would change. And let's group all of that together because it'll make it much easier to work with. Okay. All right, I'm digging that. And I will also use this area right here from which to pull a tongue. So let's do that with a mesh extraction. Oop. I'm probably going overboard right here, but it's okay. I like having these kind of things present for me to just look at while I'm working in areas like this. Now then, oh, do I want to keep those teeth embedded? Do I want to? God, I really do like doing that. Really like having it all in one mesh. Okay. Let's go back. Let's see, we're in Sculptress mode. I think I'm going to make the gums. I think I'm going to keep the gums embedded, but have the teeth be separate. Okay. Let's come in here and turn off Sculptress for a minute. Okay, there's that. So, just divided that. Okay, that works. Sort of. No, it doesn't. Let's not divide that. Let's go in and do some. Here we go. Let's go in and hit it with some slice circles. Pull that back a little bit. Yeah, I'm a stickler for dentition. Seven and 8. Let's expand that selection. Okay. And we're going to mirror and weld. Cool. Cool, that works out well. You'll see here in just a moment what that's going to do for us. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to change my edge loop setting so that it displaces a tiny bit when I do an extrusion like that. And we'll smooth some of this out. Even if, like, if this were going to go to print, to be turned into like a collectible of some sort, I still like to make sure I have these mouth interiors modeled, and I really like them contiguous. Alright, now let's group all of these together. And then we can push those in like that. And then I am going to keep these all together because I can. So there. I might just make the bottom ones and then use them as a press in into the top. I don't know. We'll see. Nah, I can't shortcut that. Can't shortcut it like that. I at least have to get a little gap in there so that we can still have mirroring. Okay, good, good. All right. It's getting into some tedium here, I know. Brent, no, this is not based on G8 female. Actually, if you catch the beginning of the video in a rewatch, you'll see I started just from a buck that's included with ZBrush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Damn it, I'm gonna get 7 again. Why is it I can nail 7 but not 8? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now let's group those together like so. And then mirror and weld that. Okay. And I'm gonna do a couple extrusions on that. There we go. blend all that together a little bit. I'll go ahead and give a little bit of shape to those upper gums. Let's give a little bit more of a shape to that mouth. Oh, that helps quite a bit. All right. Now we can turn our Sculptress back on and brush over these teeth a bit. Get some more resolution added into that area. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I missed one. I totally missed one. Well, that is unfortunate right there. That's okay. Sculptress is good for dealing with things like that. Let's see. See if I can get any kind of decent masking over that. There we go. Better. Wanted to get a good grouping on that so I can then put all these together and be able to work with them easier. So my favorite brush when working on teeth is going to be the H polish. Let's crank that up a little bit. Add a little resolution in there. Just hit Control D while it was masked, while everything else was masked off, and that subdivided that area. I do recall earlier, I think Roman mentioned in the chat something about the music. We like the music playing. For those who don't know, the music that you hear in my streams is stuff that I produce myself, because it's like, you know, I always crack the joke that I do art for a living to fuel my music habit. Let's get gnarly with it. See right there, you can see the way that responds when I smooth it now. That's why I set up the extrusions and things that I did when I was pulling those gums and things out. I knew that later on I would want it to behave that way. Okay, there's that. Let's store a morph target, run a polish command over the whole thing, and then see if I need to dial any of it back. I don't think I do. Okay. Like that. Let's get the rest of these teeth in here and call it a day. A lot of that janky stuff's going to go away when we polish it, and when we run some sculpture smoothing over it. All right, there we go. Now let's inflate all of that just a little bit. Don't do it too much. This right here is a good time. Come back through and kind of pose that mouth just a little bit. I'm not going to worry too much about those back teeth, at least at the moment, because I do need to wrap this up. And you don't really see them that well. So let's come in here with a pinch brush and use that to add some sharpness onto these. There we go. It's pretty gnarly looking. Kind of dig that. Alright, not really going to put any more into this right now. You know, I'd like to go through and do some stuff with the hands and feet, and maybe I'll do a part 2 to this where we flesh that stuff out, push a little further with it. But I feel like this is a good place to stop for now. Let's do a turntable. Take a look at all those forms as it turns around. I dig that. Dig that quite a bit. I think it'll be super cool looking with the mouth closed. It can do a lot. Yeah, it's just a fun concept. And it plays to that whole sort of semi, you know, the sort of sexy monster thing I was talking about. Like, that face isn't sexy, but then again, it has these like elegant lines that run off of it, so it still keeps some of the aspect of sex appeal in it, and that sort of attractiveness that I'm going for. I like that paired up on the female form. I think it really does some interesting things with it, you know, especially once that were to get animated. I think that face can still have a full range of human expression. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. So, as always, thanks for watching. I'm going to pop over to the chat, see if anybody else is there. So, thanks for the folks who joined in this morning for a bit. Nice to have y'all with me. Remember, as always, like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. I really would like to grow this aspect of my channel, and you know, be able to reach more people and share back and forth. Like, if you're an artist and you're watching this stuff, post a link in the comments, you know, send me some stuff. Let's talk, let's share things back and forth. That's what it's about, you know. It's about helping each other grow and learn and all that groovy stuff. So anyway, like I said, like, share, subscribe, all that. So gonna call it a day. Thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out. Until next time, later folks. Oh yeah, and don't forget, go to 6s1.com, sign up for the newsletter. You can keep track of all our stuff there. Later.